hear it. Actually. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's March 24th, a week away from April. Isn't that crazy? And all the holidays that are coming up. So we're still in March. We're still doing our March listing madness. We're still, really want you to engage in prospecting to get those listings. Listings are the name of the game. I'm going to go through a lot of where the market is right now today. Just so you have a better idea and you can share it with your clients. So our birthdays for the month, or the week, I should say, Suna Sakrak is this week. Our anniversary, Sam is with us 2 years. I can't believe how quickly that went. Howard's been with us 17 years. I can't believe how quickly that went. Since it was only 3 years that I've shared with him. I feel like I've known him for 17 years though, for sure. So happy anniversary.
Thank you.
We have some new agents that joined us this week. If you've been fortunate enough to be in the office and meet them, Kelly Ann Romero has joined us as a full-time agent and with a background in paralegal. She's going to be doing really awesome things. So welcome, Kelly, if you see her in the office. And then we also have Dante, who joined us this week. He's also joining us full-time. And a pleasure to be around. So I know we have the most supportive team around. So if you see Dante or Kelly, please introduce yourself. If you know anyone that would be a great fit for our office, we have really a great system in place for bringing agents on and helping them get successful right away. So please share with me anybody that you think would be a good fit. And welcome, Dante and Kelly. I just want to remind you, again, we have 1 week left for the Record Design Center Farming Promotion, 20% off. Postcards and the coupon codes are there. So reach out to me if you want to take advantage of this, or Stephanie. A great way to get your name out in the area. We still have low inventory sales activities going on, right? So we have to take action so we can get results. Send your good news story. I keep asking everybody for the success stories when I'm sitting with them on one-on-ones or accountability calls. As you see, we have more and more getting posted on the Daily Dose. Eric was posted the other day and Mara was posted this morning. So share with me your stories so I can share them with our office and with the company. March listing madness. This is a great calendar for you to have moving throughout the year, right? Just to be able to be consistent in what you're doing every single day. Mailing Mondays, technology Tuesdays, winning Wednesdays, thought out Thursdays, fantastic Fridays, and solicit Saturdays and Sundays. So great ways to get business going and have a consistent way to reach out to your neighborhood, your farm, your sphere, you know, all of those people that we need to keep in touch with so that we get the opportunities when they're ready to buy or sell or pass our name off to somebody else who's looking to do that. So we always have to keep that in mind. Don't forget our real estate bingo. I shared the bingo board with you last week as part of sharing the office slides with you. So I will do that again today, but we're gonna have some great prizes, some stick in the ground signs that you have so that you can put them in before your post is delivered, branded open house signs, and marketing dollars for the Riker Design Center. So that's some of the prizes we're gonna have. You have until April 6th to hand in your bingo card. You need one line filled. It could be up, down, diagonal, or whatever it is. And then you will be eligible to enter in for these great prizes. So just another way to keep you engaged and make sure you're doing the right activities each and every day. So I heard this on the radio the other day, so I stopped and wrote down the information, but I thought some interesting news in reference to New Jersey since COVID came around. So how many small businesses closed in New Jersey since COVID? A, at 8 out of 10, B, 1 out of 10, C, 3 out of 10, or D, 5 out of 10?
D.
D.
C, 3 out of 10.
D. 5 out of 10.
So we have 2 Ds, 1 C, and 1 B so far. And the winner is Lanny, with 3 out of 10 businesses closed in the past year due to COVID. So that's a lot of businesses, right? And probably see more of that happening, you know, moving forward in the following year. Oops. Wait, I think I did it wrong. So let me, okay, I went backwards. How many restaurants closed in New Jersey since COVID? So A, 7,600, B, 5,000, C, 2,500, or D, 10,000?
D,
A.
10,000.
A, 7,600.
D. D, final answer.
5,000.
Oh, we got a 5,000 and a 7,600 and a 10,000. Okay. And the winner is Lonnie again. 7,600 restaurants closed. Lonnie must have heard the same news cast I heard the other day and wrote everything down. But that's a lot of restaurants in New Jersey, right? Think about that. 7,600 just in New Jersey alone. So, you know, a little scary when we think about the impact that COVID had. Some of us see it more and some of us haven't seen it more, you know, depending on, you know, family members, friends that were affected with it, or people who have their own businesses or so on. So I just thought it was interesting information to share with you guys, you know, since we are a year into the COVID shutdown. So I want to share with you each week, you know, we've been sharing our spotlight at Agent Spotlight. So every time you share with us a great story of something that you've done or some successes you've had in real estate, you know, it really helps us to share with other agents. So I thought it'd be nice to also share each week, what is the recipe for real estate success? So I want to get ingredients from each of you each week. I think every one of us, no matter where we are in our business, can share a little tidbit of information. So this week we're starting with Tabitha. And the reason I started with Tabitha is because we were on an accountability call yesterday and she was so positive and she shared so many new activities she's doing and consistent activities. And so I thought it would be great for her to share. So Tabitha, you have 5 minutes to share with us some information, some secret to your success lately and things that you're doing to keep your business consistent. Tab, I know you're there somewhere.
Tabitha,
I
you're
have
muted.
to unmute myself.
Oh,
we
there you go. Okay, I found you.
It's just really work, you guys. I was thinking about it, you know, I've been
Yeah.
doing it for 5 years.
What's
And
up?
majority of you on this call,
Yeah, I
except for
know. I
like
was
the
just
junior market,
thinking about
people,
it.
the ones that are new.
I was just thinking about it too.
Ben, mute yourself.
Ben, you gotta
Oh,
mute
hold on a
yourself,
sec.
buddy. Okay, I got him. I muted him.
So I've been thinking about the last 5 years, and you know, the first 3 years, it was very challenging for me because I had a lot of outside pressure, and I had to navigate through all of everything. And then I just learned to really put myself around a circle of real estate agents that feed into me every day. Every day, every morning, there's a certain group of people that I talk to maybe once a week, pretty much every day. And then then I have this solid rock that I can call on anytime. Catherine, I talk to Catherine a lot. Catherine advised me a lot on stuff. Nancy, Carol, Carol just let me fly, you know, I fly, but I've learned a lot from them. And then I had a flashback last night of my first few open houses, and that was when Mara came on board, Kim Bretschke came on board. Those ladies I can reach out to, but there was one that I did with for Mara over in Treaty. I did that open house for like 10 weeks straight, you guys. And I thought about it then. And at that time, I was so hungry and I was so desperate. And that desperation came out through my, I guess, just how I interacted with people.
Mhm.
So I really learned from that Treaty Road Randolph open house because I just know. So my niche is open houses. Everybody knows I do open houses. I do open houses. My database, KV Core, is majority full of my open house people. You guys, I use KV Core a lot. I was on that, doing that now while my video was off because I'm also in the 7-week success thing. I'm doing that. I'm doing the little cougar thing because I don't pay for my leads. So when you don't pay for your leads, what do you have to do? You have to find them. So new leads, I work the new leads. And that, when I say new leads, like the people that I meet on the street or at the open houses, as much as I can, because they've already met me. I have a challenge working with people off the, just making phone calls. That's my challenge. I mean, I have to work on that, but I don't mind calling the people that are already in my database because some way I've already like met them and I've already spoken to them. So I do my open houses. But listen, I got fortunate with that one in Randolph because them people came in there through Redfin. And how it happened was that the garage door opened. And I just said to them, "Oh, I've been waiting for you." And they just got all smiles and everything. So when they come in, the first thing when I ask them is like, "How did you hear about the open house?" You always ask that because then that answers multiple questions. How did you hear about oh, my agent sent me. Oh, I found it online. Oh, you found it online? What, then they just happened to say Redfin. But they said, Redfin sent us here. I said, they sent you here? To a $950,000 house without an agent and I'm working it? This is what I'm saying in my head. So I just went all in, connected with them, and that was it. So I do the open houses. I do the activities that I have to do, which is every morning I try to get my KV Core. That's the first thing I do. I'm still trying to figure out how people, they're on KV Core looking at your homes on the website, right? And you see through the dashboard that they're looking at it. So I have a struggle trying to convert those people. I know you're looking. So I'm like, what do I need? If anybody has any suggestion for that, I greatly appreciate it. So I just do that. The other thing I told the girls yesterday is that I keep those little, I start keeping these things in my car. Because when I'm doing an open house or I'm in anywhere or in an area that I can just put this on some people's door, I do that. So I do that. A lot of my stuff is through KV Core, guys. I just learned something new this morning too. So there's a Morris Plains listing. All right. You know, there's not many, so I'm going to share it with you because I don't share too much information, but there's a Morris Plains listing. So in my hashtags, I have hashtag, in my leads, I have hashtag what town they're looking in. So I did hashtag Morris Plains. Text, right? So I don't have the smart CM, you know, I don't pay for that. I use anything I don't need to pay for.
Mhm.
So, all right. So, hi, this is Tabitha. What did I say? I don't know. I said, hi, this is Tabitha. Coming soon, Morris Plains. Put 550. I said, call or text me, and I put my cell phone number in there. I said, if you're ready to check, if you're ready to jump in the market, because some of them don't have lender pre-approval. I already know that. I have a lender on standby. Click, 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 click. That was about 13. And I hit send. That was just while I was on this call. And then if you can't find it in the listing part of the CRM, this is what I learned. You go into the GSMLS or you put in the MLS number, and at the bottom, it says add MSL link, and it populated. I was like, oh shit. So guys, I just work, if you just have to do the activities. I mean, it took me a minute, and listen, I'm on my own. So that's my motivation. I have to pay rent, car note, and all this other stuff. So that's why I have to do it. So if you know my story, you know why I work so hard.
And she does work really, really hard. And that's why I thought she'd be a great person to start off our recipe for real estate success, because she's so motivating to so many people. So if I break down what she said, it's that she's consistent. Open houses is where she really focuses her business because she likes to be face-to-face with people versus making phone calls. That's where her My Weichert system is being built up from, or mostly from her open houses. Because she doesn't pay for leads, she's generating on their own. She's using the My Weichert system as her lead generation system, which is what we're trying to really promote to everybody. It's a great system to do that. And when you're hungry, when you have to put food on your table, when you have to put, you know, pay your rent or your mortgage or your car payment or your college bills or whatever it is that's important to you, then you are going to make sure that this business works, right? And I see it happen all the time. I see the pivot. I see agents pivot when things change in their life. You know, the hungrier you are, the more you will do. The fear for putting the food on your table or putting, you know, paying your payments versus the fear of picking up the phone will change, you know, because now that's not as scary anymore. If you know, putting food on your table is scarier, or paying for your kids' college is scarier, or whatever it is in your life that you're going through. So I just want to thank Tabitha for sharing. You know, it's not easy to come on in front of everybody and share things that you're doing and give ideas. Does anybody have any questions for her? All right. Well, thank you guys. And we thank you, Tabitha, again for sharing. You're doing a great
You're welcome.
job. You really are. And
Yeah, thank you, Tabitha. She honestly, she's so inspiring, really, and like her drive and her work ethic. Like it like this business is rough, right? And when you've been in it for, you know, as long as Tabitha, as long as me, and you like ride the waves, like, you know, like it's, you know, it is tough, but if you are consistent, you have that drive, and Tabitha is so passionate and girl, so positive, and I just love it. So thank you for sharing. You're going to do great this year. And I hope that I can just take some of that inspiration and put it in my business. So thank you, Tab.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Sorry, I've known Tabitha changed a lot in her what do you call it? She's grown as a realtor and her attitude and everything. And it's great to see her positive because it
Mhm.
inspires all of us as well.
I have a question for Tabitha.
Thanks, Vin.
Tabitha,
Mhm.
Can you add me to your list to talk to you in the mornings? I want that. I want that energy. Thanks, Tabitha.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, who is
There
that?
you go. You gotta call Carlos and motivate him in the morning.
Oh, Carlos.
Me too, me too. I'm jealous.
Well, listen, it's not really, listen, okay? The agents that have been doing this a long time know it's not hard, it's not easy building relationships with other realtors. And let's keep it real. So it took me a while because, hey, guys, I know everybody doesn't like me, but it's, hey, it is what it is. So I established good friendships and good relationships with people in that office that I know support me. And I don't advertise it. I don't announce it. You just have to know who your people are. So if you don't have that, you really should establish that because we're Weichert. We're Weichert to Weichert. I would rather sell my real estate to my Weichert agents. I'm just saying. So you want to be able to know that you can work with them.
Yep,
Okay.
you have to surround
I've had my
yourself with
ups and
positive
downs with
people.
some agents in the office, but when I see their listing, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I have to like put on my big girl panties on because it's going to happen.
Yep.
But right now, I love working with everybody in the office.
Thank you, Tabitha. Yes, yes, we all, exactly. Surround yourself with positive people, surround yourself with
have to.
like-minded people, and surround yourself with people who are moving in the same direction as you. It will push you forward without you even realizing. Really, it just propels you and you don't even realize it. So again, thank you so much, Tabitha. Thank you for sharing. I really
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Anytime.
So we're gonna move on with Stephanie.
Gonna be tough to follow that one. Thank you, Tabitha. I also am super inspired by you. Every time you sit in my office, you make me just want to learn from you, and I feel like we like feed off each other, and I love that. I love it. I look forward to it. I like when seeing you walk through the door. So just a real quick note, I wanted to just do a tip of the week. We're working on with our accountability groups on making calls this week. So I wanted to just show you if my Weichert does have the ability to do a call. There's a call feature in there using the smart number. So when you're in the contact screen, there's actually a new call button. And when you click that new call button, what happens is you have three choices. The next slide, please. You have three choices. And the first choice is you can actually make a phone call through KB Core directly, which is kind of cool because there's some good things that happen from it. So what will happen is the procedure will be, obviously you have to have a phone number for that person first off. That's number one. But the second thing is, so if you click that call button on the bottom there, what will happen is the smart number will call your cell phone that's on file, and make sure you have that smart number programmed in so you know what that phone number is. It could come up as spam. You just want to make sure you have that in there. It will connect with you. You'll be put on hold, and then the smart number will then call the lead or the contact. They'll also only see the smart number on their end as well. They won't see your cell phone calling. And once you're connected with them, it's almost like you've called them. So just, be ready. Hi, this is Tabitha. This is Stephanie from Weichert, whoever you are. And just be ready with your dialogue at that point. Second choice. So that's the cool thing about that choice is that the phone call actually is recorded in the timeline of that lead. So literally the whole, even if it's a voicemail, it is recorded. So you can kind of go back and listen to it again if you need to. And only you can hear it, obviously. The second choice is you can actually log a call. So say you make a phone call or a lead calls you on your cell phone and you want to keep note that you made that call. You can click the second tab there and it says log call, and it's very simple. You just write in your notes what happened, left message, spoke to Judy, she's looking for a home in Morris Plains, whatever it is that you need to put. And then at the bottom, you'll just click contacted, either not home or it's a bad phone number. And then the third choice there is you can actually schedule a phone call. So say you open up this lead, hey, I need to call this person in a couple of days, but I'm not sure if I'll remember. So let me just write myself a note, and you can actually schedule that call, put any notes that you need to, schedule a date and time, and click save at the bottom. What will happen is on the day of that call, on your dashboard in the right-hand corner, there's a little check mark, which is your notifications for the day, and it will show you have that call to be made. And you can actually, again, make the phone call from KV Core or log the call or so forth. So that's just an additional engagement to do. So when you log any of those calls, it counts towards your engagement numbers, which counts for our engagement numbers. So it's good to have those notes in there just to remember when you call these people. What questions do you have on that, or any questions at all on anything? Okay, nobody. Okay, tomorrow we have our next MTS bi-monthly workshop, and it's going to be at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning on Microsoft Teams we're using, and we're concentrating on the life cycle of a lead. I'm not actually going to be presenting, but we have some really good content happening, and I'm going to be actually manning the question box tomorrow. So be there, please. We have a really good showing. I know you guys are busy, but it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're trying to keep it under 30 to 45 minutes. Be there. It really looks good for us. It really is informative and very, very, it's good overall. And it's not just about that topic. It's at times kind of goes off on tangents, and maybe something that you'll learn or need to, ask a question about.
I want to say that I went last week and I loved it. It was great. Well, I don't know if it was last week, whenever it was the last one, it was just really awesome, and it gave me a lot of information. And it's neat to see everybody sharing, because then you kind of learn from everybody. It's cool. It's a very good thing to do.
Yeah, great. I'm glad, Catherine. That's good. Anybody have any questions about anything at all? I'm back in the office tomorrow. Hopefully, my car broke down, so I'm working from home these 2 days. But if you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out. I'm here all day. Thanks.
Oh, Stephanie, sorry, I have a question. If we can't make it to the 9 o'clock meeting tomorrow, is it available? Like, will you have it recorded for us afterwards?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they record it, and I'll send it out after.
So guys, just so you know, that's how I make my calls to you guys. If I talk to you guys, anything I share with you guys, I go into my KV Core and use that. I put in my notes, everything. I was making the phone calls directly from KV Core, but then people were getting confused with my smart number and my cell phone number. And so I just make the call, I hit new call, and I log it in myself. If I want to remind myself to reach out or whatever the case, or even if I'm talking to agents from other offices, I make myself those reminders so I know when to call. So it really is a good system to keep you organized with your phone calls, for sure. It's a really great system for that. So some office news and events. This is something actually that Anthony brought up to me yesterday, and I thought it was really, really, something to share with you guys. Association fees, okay? So as a buyer's agent, are you checking to verify HOA fees so you can share with your buyer and his lender beforehand? Or as a seller's agent, are you verifying the dues or copying another listing, right? We find a lot of agents copy listings. And so that information might be past dated. It may no longer be relevant. Maybe there's an assessment now, something that is not being shared. Maybe the fees have gone up. And the reason I think this is relevant to bring up right now is because it can drastically change the buyer's buying power. So if there's an extra fee there, or if that fee is higher than it's being, than you saw on there, and that's what everybody's going off of, they may not be able to qualify for that property. So again, you have to do your due diligence beforehand. And so make sure that you're verifying this information while you're putting the offer in, so that you can assure that your client can move forward if they get this property, right? A $50 or $100 assessment may change their buying power, right? They may be on the cusp. we find a lot of people are pushing the envelope right now because of the fact that they have to go over what they wanted to put in anyway, right? They're over, you know, they're paying more than they thought. You know, they're looking at houses in their price point, but then have to put in an offer higher. So they're really pushing up their budget and they're pushing up their buying power. So make sure as an agent, if you're a listing agent, make sure you're doing your due diligence. Just don't go into another agent's past listing and pull down that information. And if you're representing the buyer, make sure you have the appropriate information so there's no surprises for your buyer or for anybody at the end. And then my plea for the end of the month, get your sales in. We are 1 week away from the end of the month. We have 51 units in, so that's sales. So any sale, meaning you sell one of your listings, is a revenue unit. Someone else sells one of your listings as a revenue unit. Or you're representing the buyer and you hand in a sale. So those sales, we are 38 away and we have a week away. And you guys have done it in the past, you know, where you've pushed it to the limit right to the end and we've been able to get it in. So that's why I like to share it with you, because we're a week away from the new month and really would love to hit our goals for the first time this year. Also, Silvana is not in today. She actually last minute yesterday was able to get her first vaccine in, and she had another doctor's appointment anyway. So she's out getting her vaccine. So if you need anything, you know, just reach out to me. So home price appreciation. So this is the part I think is very important that you know, hopefully these slides will help you with maybe your buyers in helping them to understand where we are in this market today. And your sellers, you know, also, it's a good way to just share with people so that it's not only you saying something, that you have the facts and the data to share and to back up what you're saying. So home price appreciation. So 2020 final house appreciation numbers are in 10%. Okay, so we're talking about 2020, not even where we are in the last 3 months in 2021 where it's appreciated. So that was last year in COVID. And we're going to share with you, I'm going to share with you what the experts are saying, why we're seeing this and what is to expect moving forward. So is this like the last time? So I've had a lot of agents ask me, are we going to see a lot of short sales in a few years? Should I get, you know, should I get certified in short sale certification? Should I get certified in HUD? Should I get certified? All these different things. So now I'm prepared for when when the market drops and all these people, you know, have to get out of their houses because they cannot financially sustain it anymore. So what I've been responding is, I don't think we're in the same market as we were. The mortgage industry is regulated now. It wasn't regulated then, right? There's so many people were using their homes as ATMs back then. They're not doing that today. So there's a lot of reasons why, and most people have more equity than ever, right? So annual home price appreciation. So you see the 2002 to 2005 bubble that we were in, right? It was an average annual appreciation of 10% each year. Okay, so remember that bubble that we went through. And now where we are from 2017 to 2020, it was a 6.3. So it's a more normalized appreciation that we saw the last few years, right? So yes, we're seeing more now, but I'll share with you why they think that. So default risk in the mortgage market, 1999 to 2020. And maybe Anthony can talk a little bit about more of this when he comes up next. But look where we were back in the early 2000s, hitting probably to 2009, 2010, right? When we hit that big financial depreciation that we did in the market. So the reasonable lending standard was way higher than it should have been, which is what I was just referring to. The mortgage industry was not regulated back then. And anyone could get a mortgage. Your dog could get a mortgage. Your 3-year-old child could get a mortgage, right? I mean, they were just giving out mortgages like giving out candy back then, because nothing was regulated. And people were taking advantage of that because the appreciation was so much higher in their house, right? A 10% appreciation a year. They were saying, why don't I take that money out and use it? Why don't I take advantage of that? And then the market crashed and a lot of people were burned by that. So if you see from 2015 to 2020, you don't see a lot of that red. You don't see a lot of that product risk, right? You see more reasonable lending standards. So that's one of the things. So we don't feel we're going to see a lot of short sales or foreclosures once this market sort of levels out. Another thing, months inventory existing single-family homes for sale. So back in 2004, 2005, remember, that's when there was very little inventory, and then started growing 2006 to 2007 when there was 9.6 months inventory, right? I remember I got into the market in 2006. I remember 2007. Some towns had 11 months absorption rate, 14 months absorption rate, right? I remember dealing with that at the time. Now look at where we are. So in 2017, we're at 4. We came down a little bit in 2018 at 3.7, a little bit in 2019 to 3, and now 2.1. So we're seeing a slight adjustment, right, each year, which is more normal, right? It's a more even adjustment that we've seen. Again, why we're in a better market now than we were back then. So during the housing bubble, rapid house prices appreciation was not entirely supported by economic fundamentals, but in today's housing market, nominal house price appreciation has been driven by a historic shortage of supply relative to the demand and rate-driven surge in house buying power. Many find it hard to believe that housing is actually undervalued in most markets, and the gap between the house buying power and sale prices indicates there's room for further house price growth in the months to come. So this is why they're saying that we're going to see that, that this appreciation that we're seeing is where we're just getting back to where we're supposed to be. Okay, we were undervalued for the past few years. And so we're getting back to where we're supposed to be, number one, and there's room that it's going to continue to grow. So again, I think that's great news moving forward. So percentage of the median income needed to purchase the median priced home. So in 1985 to 2000, it was 21.2%. In 2006, it was 25.4%. And that's what happened, right? We got into this, we were in the height of the market in 2006. And then buyers started saying, wait a minute, my cost of living is not what I'm getting and what I'm making is not appreciating where these house prices are. And so that's when all of a sudden the market died. Right. And today we're at 14.9%. Again, a more reasonable amount, a more reasonable number. So it's not just a seller's market, it's a super seller's market. This is an incredibly competitive home buying environment. And that's what we're seeing, right? So I think this is great slides, maybe if you're doing buyers consultations, to add in so that people don't feel that they're overpaying for a house. It shows them that the houses were undervalued, and this is why we're getting to where we are today. So it gives a lot of great information. And again, people are more visual, right? So us just throwing this information at them without having the documentation to back it up, it makes a huge difference. So I think it's a small group of slides. It's enough for everybody to be able to verbalize to their clients and be able to share with them where we are today and why. So Anthony, where are we in the mortgage market today?
We're doing pretty good. Just to circle back on what you said before too as well, in regards to we're just talking about obviously the way the
mortgage industry in 2006.
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Where it is today. Yeah.
I think it was a few weeks ago, I think on one of the slides, or I'd sent an email out to everybody just talking about like the equity position on homes in the market right now. I mean, everybody just has a lot more equity in their homes over the last several years that they've built up. So to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, when this thing kind of, slows itself down, because it will at some point, I don't think we're going to see like an abundance of what we saw, back in 08 and 09 and 2010 of just all these, short sales and foreclosures. I mean, I do have a little bit of concern just with a lot of people that were all the moratorium with the whole COVID and the forbearance are all coming to an end. I mean, some of these folks out there, I talked to a client the other day. I mean, he's like on his 10th month of not making a mortgage payment right now. And he took advantage of like 3 moratoriums on forbearances. So, those are all going to come to an end where people got to like kind of pay the piper or figure out what they have to do. So, I think, some people out there sadly have, obviously lost jobs. Unemployment is up a bunch over through COVID, and it's starting to come back a little bit here and there. But I think, you may see some homes come up for sale specifically for that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's going to be anything even close to what we've seen, from many, many moons ago and stuff. Again, because there's so much equity in homes and stuff. So people hopefully will be in front of that, where if they feel that they can't afford to live here anymore and they are moving out of state or downsizing, they'll have a lot of equity in their property, versus what happened before is they bought high, no equity, and then just walked away from properties because they were short selling everything. If that was the case, what was the point of even staying there? Because they weren't getting any equity out of property. So that's the big difference of what happened previously to where we are now. So, you guys have been getting emails from me, regularly on week and week, just what's happening with the marketplace. You guys are seeing updates on the news, television right now about what's happening with rates and stuff. So there's nothing hiding on that. Rates are rising. They have been, and they've kind of risen to some crazy levels in a very, very fast, short period of time. So, just last week, just to kind of, recap, and I sent an email out kind of when the market was moving and what the Fed announced, et cetera. But the economic data last week was generally less than favorable. Retail sales and housing starts did not meet expectations. Though retail sales were coming off large gain and housing starts were affected by the harsh weather we saw in February, which is a lot of times normal in the winter months, just because obviously snow and stuff like that, right? We had some major storms here in the Northeast, so that affected things a lot more locally too. The Federal Reserve met last week with no action on interest rates. So I sent this email out last week too as well. As a reminder, I think I even posted it on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of times when people hear we're not raising rates or interest rates are at 0%, that doesn't mean interest rates are at 0%. That's how banks lend money to each other, not to the public. So they're not making money on their, money kind of coming across each other that way. So it's not that interest rates are 0%. But with that being said, the statement acknowledged that the economy would rebound more quickly this year. So we're seeing that on all lines, right? People are buying houses, they're overpaying, people have more money to utilize, people are back in steam, they're working from home, they're figuring things out, and then inflation is going to pick up. We did not see a threat that was, going to be long term, but despite the dovish tone, bond rates, continue to rise, which is, as I've told you guys many times, as the 10-year Treasury yield keeps going up, typically the interest rates follow suit. So, I mean, they're on the highest levels we've seen in many, many years, just where the 10-year Treasury is. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on that. We've kind of come down off the recent high going into the end of the last week. So we're down a little bit. We're up a little bit today. So you're going to have this big yin and yang that we're going to fight with all the time. And I mean, buyers that were pre-approved a month ago, that same buyer right now is probably paying, maybe $100 more a month right now in payment. So, I mean, that's a significant amount of money to kind of go off what Missy was saying about the condo stuff. I mean, I mentioned that to Missy yesterday because I have 2 buyers right now that are buying condos. And, obviously from my end, I'm reaching out to the HOA when the deal goes live. They're making various offers on other projects and stuff like that too as well. And the HOA doesn't always respond to us very quickly. That's part of our process when we do the loan. And I only have the data that's off of the, the listing itself. So those things are really important to know as people are really extending themselves on that price of home. They're going 10, 20, 30, 50,000 higher just to kind of maybe find another tier to kind of get them away from every other buyer or whatever it may be. So, that's really, really important to know on that end. This week's going to be also seeing readings. Oops, sorry. Page before. Oops, there you go. New existing home sales, personal income and spending, and the final measure of growth for the fourth quarter. So we'll kind of keep you posted on that. You can go to the next slide. Just kind of just what I was saying before, rising interest rates, really important sense of urgency. So if you're looking to purchase, try to get into something quickly now. If you're considering listing, all the more reason to kind of put something on the market, especially if you're looking to move. So that's really critical. And, we have variations on different products. Some clients are right now taking advantage of either refinancing to a shorter term, or some buyers are then going, what, I could afford a shorter term loan. The interest rates are usually cheaper on lesser terms from a 30-year or lower. So with that being said, they might say, the payment's a couple $100 more a month, but my long-term savings could be $100,000 over the next 20 years. You know what I mean? So if you have that option, some people are taking advantage of that right now. And this has been an important one. The last several weeks, we're starting to see when we're qualifying buyers, we've always talked about the risk of investor loans and stuff. And that's what happened back in the mid 2000s too as well. Everybody was buying properties, multifamily, second homes, investment properties. And then obviously I always say this to buyers that are looking to buy an investment property, because they always ask, Anthony, why are the interest rates so much more expensive? Why do I have to pay points on investment properties? The loans are just more risky sometimes, just based on, if you own 2 homes and things get tight on your personal life or your renter does not pay you back and you're payment to payment that way, unfortunately, the first house you're probably not going to pay your mortgage on or you'll let go will be your investment property. You're going to keep your family safe and want to stay in your primary residence. So those things are really critical. It's just that where this is going is the typical norm guidelines that they would usually approve loans at. They're starting to get a little bit more conservative. So that's just important to know. Not that they're changing the down payment requirements, but most importantly, the debt to income ratio, which is the total debt that you have with your house that you're buying and any other debt that you have revolving monthly, dividing that into your income is your debt to income ratio. And usually we have thresholds we adhere to, but we're starting to see deals that we would get approved weeks and months ago. They're not getting approved right now just because of the risk factor. So more to come on that. They're just Fannie and Freddie are just kind of tightening more down to kind of just really mitigate the risk. So they're not taking on, all of a sudden all these buyers, because we're getting calls every day, investment, people trying to take advantage, buy a property to rent out and stuff. So they want to, really kind of control of what happened many, many moons ago. So more to come on that. All right, trivia question. Rents have accelerated in 2021. According to Apartment List, at what annual rate did rents increase from January to February of this year? So is it A, 8.4%, B, 9.4%, C, 2.1%, or D, 5.6%?
C.
What was that, Dennis?
C.
See,
A.
A.
got a couple A's out there.
D. D.
Let's see if Lonnie has a winning streak today.
The answer is A, 8.4%.
No way.
Was that Virginia in on that too, I think?
Yes, I was me.
Yes, it
I got
was.
one right out of all of them today.
I got 3.
I
But remember,
know.
folks,
I was
you know-
going to wait till you answered before I did, but
That was smart.
Okay.
just
Ellen, you
remember-
should be so lucky in the lottery.
Yes, that would be really nice.
you should maybe start playing. after all
Today,
these
anyway,
moves and
today's
stuff
your
like that.
day, Lonnie.
But remember, folks, just get a
I'll
hold
follow
of me.
you to the store.
Just remember, get a hold of me on your pre-approved buyers. It's important. I mean, just to kind of, tag on Tabitha before. I mean, Tabitha and I on Monday, we were talking at like 8 o'clock at night. She had just came back from a listing. She wanted me to reach out to someone she had just met for the first time. And I was literally sitting on the side of the road eating dinner with my laptop up. I was waiting for my daughter to get done with softball practice and I was calling our client. So, I mean, again, that's the kind of service you're going to get with me, working with you to kind of stress that team approach. Other lenders and stuff are home with their feet on their desk. Banks are closed. You're not going to get that when you're trying to make offers and stuff. So just, again, utilize me for how you can. It's really, really, really important to kind of help you, put a deal together in this marketplace right now.
And Anthony, real quickly, we yesterday at Mastermind,
Oh,
an
yeah.
agent had asked about if a septic fails, can the buyer still purchase it with a mortgage? So can you answer that question?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer it and then you're going to have to delete it on the week slides that you're going to send it out.
This
So
is
I've
being
said this-
recorded.
Yeah, I know. So you're going to have to cut it short.
Mhm.
So the answer is this. When any lender finds out about any problem about a property, so what I mean by that is we as the lender don't ever get copies of home inspections. So if a house has a bomb, a meth lab growing in it,
Mhm.
whatever the situation's happening is, we typically don't know about it. The buyer and the agent and the attorney do, and then they have to address any concerns they have. They get inspections, they get septic inspections. If the septic fails, more than likely a buyer is going to go to a seller and say, I want you to fix or repair a septic. However, sometimes people don't have the financing to be able to do this. I just went through this in a deal the other day, where sometimes a lot of septic companies will extend the work to be done and have it be taken out of the proceeds of the sale of the seller. So that's always an option too as well. But if a lender finds out that there's a non-functioning septic, a well that's not passed or something like that, they will request for it to be fixed. If an appraiser, that's why we've always said, try not to ever have the appraiser at the home when the inspectors are there. Those guys rub elbows and they talk to each other, or they're looking down there and scratching their head. Hey, what's going on? Oh, the septic's failed. Guess what? When I get that appraisal report, what do you think is going to be listed on there? Per the home inspector, septic's not, has failed, full replacement, permits, everything open, closed. We're going to need proof of payment and all that stuff. So I've always said, I know it's an extra drive, especially if these listings or buyers are far. Set up the appointment at totally different times. But again, you can't add anything on a closing disclosure. So you're not going to be able to add like a credit from a seller for $40,000. It's too much. It can't go above the closing cost limit. So a seller typically on a full septic fail has to replace Or if they reduce and the buyer says, hey, I have the 40,000 to replace it, you could just take it off the top. We don't want to know about it. And if we know about it, technically we should be telling everybody about it. So if I didn't hear about it, I didn't know about it, what everybody works out, that's on them. But most attorneys that we do business with, or any other attorneys out there, they typically don't want buyers closing on a house with a non-functioning septic or something like that. So it's more of a question for them. But if we find out about it, all that stuff's gonna have to be replaced, whether it's a septic fail, you know, a problem with a home inspection that is now on the appraisal because it was something viewed, a leak on a ceiling somewhere, cracked foundation that was very in sight. Those things can come up in an appraiser on any kind of concerns, no matter what the situation or whatever type of financing it is.
Thank you.
You're
Because I answered it differently. I said, I just assumed that the town, the health department had to be notified and they somehow notify the mortgage company. I don't know this whole.
So, yeah, so
thing.
keep in mind, when a septic goes out and it fails, they do report that to the town. But again, from a financing end, we're not going to get permits for the mortgage per se, right?
Right.
That's the due diligence of everybody else. So if everybody's on the same page going, hey, it was a 400 sale, we got a bill for 40,000. It's a 360 reduced sales price now. Mr. Buyer has the 40,000 to do the work. He'd rather just do it himself. If I didn't know about it, that loan closes. But if it's told to me up front, technically I know about it and it needs to be addressed. And especially if, you know, like I said, I closed a loan once or tried to where the appraiser was out there that day and he conditioned for an septic be replaced. And I called the agent, I go, what's going on with the septic? He's like, oh, they're replacing it. I go, I didn't even know. I looked at the last page of the appraisal report. There's a huge hole in the ground. Like I had no idea, you know, that was going on, but you know, it is what it is. It was being replaced, but sometimes you just don't know what's really happening. I'm not involved so much with the inspections or, you know, and how that goes. It comes up sometimes in conversation, but you know, typically if it comes up, it's going to have to be addressed up front.
Right. Thanks, Anthony.
No problem.
So our local absorption rate is still extremely low. I have seen by doing my numbers this week that in some towns, most towns here, not including Morris Plains, but stayed the same, the amount of inventory went up 5 to 10 homes just week over week. So when I was changing over the numbers for total units active, about 5 to 10 more homes were on the market this week. So, you know, we're getting into the spring market. I guess it's typical of this time of the year. But again, it's still not changing the absorption rates. The amount of under contracts, you know, in 30 days, all that is still staying the same. So we're really, really, again, in a very low inventory market. So real quickly, and this will be our last tab of the thing of the week, I promise you, but I just had the opportunity a few weeks ago. Tabitha was going to show a listing and she knew she was going to be writing up an offer for it, and it was a listing in our office. So she asked if I would come by so she can introduce her client to me, and just so everybody felt they were on the same playing field and fairly treated and whatever. So I ran over to the house and introduced myself, and as he's signing the paperwork, I was just literally walking around the house taking a look at it, and Tabitha said, this person was an attorney, and Tabitha said, if I get you this house, you'll use my title company, right? And he said, well, you know, I'm aligned with one. She said, if I get you this house, you use my title company. I'm only asking you for this house, for this one thing. And so he said, okay, I will. And then she started talking about her lender. I know you have a lender, but you know, I really want to just introduce you to Anthony. And he said, you know, I've been working with someone for a long time. She said, I know that. All I'm asking you is for you to have a conversation, to get an opportunity. So what I'm saying is that I literally blew me away, because I have conversations with agents all the time who use non-participating attorneys, and they'll use them specifically. And I say, if it was me and I said to the attorney, I want you to use Weichert Title on my deals, and they would not, I would not be using that attorney anymore. That's just me, but I would be like, we're not partners, we're not a team then, right? And we know how well Weichert Title works. We've been getting great feedback. Jen Pickett client used a title company, top notch, and had the worst experience of her life. Right? So when we allow the other people who are not our partners or our team to control the transaction, then we find ourselves in really bad predicaments. And when you ask your client and say, this is part of my team, and I'm asking you just on this one deal, he can use whatever he wants for the rest of his life. I'm asking you on this one deal or any deal I work with you, why they wouldn't partner with you when you're passing them business on is beyond me. So I truly respected that she basically just said, listen, if I get you this, you're going to use it. And then again, with the mortgage partner, he was a little hesitant because he's been working with someone at the time, but guess what? Something happened with his relationship within that next few days or that next few weeks. And then he called Anthony. So again, if you don't control your transaction now more than ever, you're going to find yourself in bad predicament. And the last story, Mara's not on the call right now because she just ran out on a listing appointment, but she shared with me a multiple offer situation. Ryan Dawson had the listing. It just came on in Randolph last week, and then multiple offers this weekend. Ryan said to her, we had an offer that was a little bit higher, but because you're using Riker Financial, and I did not know any of the other mortgage companies, I never heard of them, I never seen them. I told my clients I felt more comfortable with you versus this higher offer, which I didn't know who the mortgage company was. And that's how she won the offer for her client, not even giving as much as the top dollar. So again, there's certain agents in our office, in our company, who are very, very much feel more comfortable when we have everything in-house because they know how we work in-house. So I'm just, again, a gentle reminder to you guys that you are in control. You are in control. Don't back down. Don't let them, don't be fearful of telling your clients. That's why they're working with you, because they're expecting that you're going to help them navigate through the transaction. So I just want to share that with you while we're on that. And now I will move on to new listings. But Tabitha, that was awesome the way you did that. It was really awesome. And I was so unexpected. I was in shock at first. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I hear her saying this. She said it and he agreed. So
Catherine Adcock will call it a hard closing.
Catherine has some great dialogues. She says things so well. If you ever want to run things off anybody, call Catherine. She has the best way of verbalizing things to people, honestly. So on the market this week, and if you're on the call and you want to talk about your listing, please unmute yourself. I'd rather you talk about it. So Jackie Scarra has 30 Washington Ave in Parsippany for $325. I'm going to assume that that's gone already. I just will assume it because of the price point. Carol, 8 Lionel Place in Hanover for $725. Are you on, Carol? I know I saw you earlier. All right, well, you can always come back to it if you are here and want to speak about it. Cheryl Towie has 558 Stuyvesant Ave in Irvington for $316.
It's gone, Missy. Well,
it's gone already.
Multiple offers right now.
Multiple offers. I'm telling you, this market is just unbelievable. That's great to hear. And that was an opportunity she got from Op City. You know how everybody says Op City stinks? Well, I was on the phone with Op City last week, and we've been with them for 2 years, and we've had 41 closings through Op City. So anyone who thinks they stink needs to start working on their dialogue and working on converting leads, because it's a great way for you to fill your pipeline. And we're getting a lot of more better quality leads, higher price points, because I see them every time one of our agents is able to get them. Really, we've really moved up the line here because our agents are doing so well with them. But 41 closings in 2 years from Op City leads. So think about that. Everybody has the same opportunity with them. You know, a lot of people have stopped using it because they felt that the leads weren't good quality, or they weren't able to convert people, whatever the reason being. But use it as a way to train yourself with dialogue. That's what you should be doing, answering every call, and then you make the decision. Again, you're in control whether you want to take that lead or not.
Missy,
Jackie?
I think once you start closing, once you close 1 or 2 of them, I think they send you better leads like individually as well.
I have a new agent in the office who has one, maybe two now under contract, does not have, maybe has one prior sale prior to that, has two under contract right now at 500,000, and they're from Op City. So again, that's what I'm saying. I think they were, at first, and now that we're doing so well as an office, we're definitely getting a lot more opportunities. So Jackie Skura has 8 McNeil Drive in Parsippany. I know that one's gone. That one did receive multiple offers and is gone already. Joanne Bickers has an exclusive coming on at 36 Wood Road in Morristown for $650. Again, if you have someone looking in that area, make sure that you're bringing that information out. Zebby has 709 William Street and Booton, $399.9. It's back on the market. Rory Kaplan has 2 new exclusives in Booton. She has 255 Reserve Street for
Yeah,
$899.
May I tell you about it?
Yes,
So-
please. I'm glad you're there. Yes.
Okay, so that one was built in 2011 and it was originally the builder's home. So everything is upgraded. It's 5 bedrooms, 6.5 baths, and then it has a full basement with a full walkout basement with a full kitchen and 4 other rooms, a game room. It's really a beautiful house in beautiful condition. The other one is a building that I just listed. It's 2 connected buildings. It's on Main Street, across the street from Grace Lord Park. So it's like a prime Booton location. It's that one's listed for $679. The right side brick building is 3 units. It's an apartment on the 3rd floor, and then the 2nd floor and the 1st floor is retail. And then the left side stucco is 2 apartments. And then there are 4 private yard spaces on this.
That's awesome. Now you can visualize it. It really is a great spot. So that's
gotta go there.
$679.
Oh, and the other one is open on Sunday, Reserve Street. So if you have anyone, please send them.
So these
Lori,
are,
what's the asking price on Main Street?
$679.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
so again, guys, you're getting this information ahead of time to share with your clients. If you have anyone who you think would be interested in these, reach out to them. Great opportunity. So congrats, Lori, on those two great listings. Anybody else have anything coming soon on the horizon in search of price reductions, rental listings, or success stories that they want to share with us? You guys are so quiet. Okay, so we don't have any price reduction anymore, right? Because everything goes. So anyway, guys, again, we're heading into April next week. So we really have to make sure we're taking advantage of every single day and making sure that we're building our pipeline for the next few months, because this is our busiest time of the year, right? Everything we do today is our business 2 months from now. So stay motivated, take advantage of the agents that we have in our office, the resources we have, and make sure you're making the best of this market at all times. Thank you, everyone, and have a great week.
Thank you.
You're even quiet
Thank
now.
Thank you. Thanks, Missy. Bye, everybody.
Bye, bye.
Guys.